What's up, you guys? So if you're watching this video right now, then you're one of the first people to check out my new YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. On this channel, I'm gonna go a lot deeper and a lot realer than what I share on Instagram. When I was thinking about what to share in this first video, I've come a long way since White Boy Summer. My life is a lot different now. But I think for this first video, we should take it to the beginning, because apart from people asking me about White Boy Summer, the number one question I've always got is, what is it like, what was it like growing up as Tom Hanks' son? And it's an interesting answer. The most memorable time I was asked that question was when I was 14 years old. Me and my family were invited to the White House. This is when George W. Bush was president. When I was introduced to the president, he turned to me and he said, "Hey Chester, what was it like growing up the son of a famous father?" And I was caught off guard because I was only 14. The answer I gave him then is pretty much the same answer I give people now. And I said, "Well, Mr. President, there's a lot of advantages, but sometimes it can be pretty weird." And he said, "That's a good answer. I think I know a little something about that," because people forget his dad was the president as well, That's still true to this day. There's a lot of advantages, but sometimes it can be pretty weird. Everyone knows the advantages, They're self-explanatory. I'm very blessed. I got to do a lot of cool shit that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do. I got to travel the world, stay in nice hotels, fly in private planes, and I'm very blessed for that. I wouldn't change my situation for everything. I love my parents. I wouldn't want any different parents, and I wouldn't want any different life. And I'm very grateful and blessed for all of that. The truth is, it is a double-edged sword. It's a lot more complicated, and not so many people really understand it. You gotta keep in mind that fame is the most powerful drug known to man. It can also be the most destructive. People are infatuated with fame. They put famous people on a pedestal. Everybody wants to be famous. It creates a lot of jealousy, a lot of envy. Everyone is doing whatever they can to become famous. We think that it's gonna validate us, and I've been guilty of that too. But the truth is that seeking validation from fame and from others only amplifies your misery. True validation can only come from within, from within yourself. My experience was even more complicated because on top of fame already being toxic, I wasn't even famous. I was just the son of somebody famous. So I hadn't even done anything to deserve any sort of recognition. And that created a lot of contempt for me. My dad is beloved. He's on this pedestal. But for me, it created a lot of contempt because people automatically assumed in general that I would just be a really arrogant, entitled, spoiled brat, even though I really wasn't. I'm very privileged, but I wasn't spoiled. I know a lot of wealthy kids that were spoiled. My parents didn't spoil me. I was never just given money or an allowance. I had to work and earn everything that I've made, and it's been that way for my entire life. Growing up, if I needed money to go out and have fun with my friends, my dad would be like, "Okay, you want some money? Go wash my car. I'll give you $60. Everything was earned. And I'm grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that. Because when you spoil people and just give them whatever they want, like a lot of wealthy people do, it just kills any ambition in their children. Because how are you gonna have the drive to go out and earn and achieve things if you've already been given everything and you've already been enjoying the benefits of all that? Growing up into high school and college, I learned that everywhere I went, people in general just had this preconceived notion about me that I was just gonna be an arrogant, spoiled, entitled brat. And it was almost impossible to break them out of those preconceived notions. It was just a wall. People would make up their minds about me before they even got a chance to know me, and it was extremely hard to break down their walls. So I encountered a lot of disdain, a lot of animosity, a lot of negativity, because everybody was just prepared to hate my guts. And that caused me to develop a chip on my shoulder and walk around with a lot of anger. And it led me to create this hard exterior so that people wouldn't fuck with me, because people did kind of fuck with me a lot growing up. It was never to my face. It was always behind my back in the forms of gossip and shit talking. People either just hating me outright and talking shit about me behind my back, or people pretending to be my friend so that they could get close to me and then also talk shit about me behind my back to make themselves look better. And then on the other side, the other category, there was the people that were just dick riders and would want to be close to me because they were infatuated with my dad and be all interested, fake interested in me to try to be my friend, when obviously they didn't give a fucking shit about me. They were just infatuated with the idea of hanging around fucking Tom Hanks' son. So I just was always extremely distrustful of people and defensive. And that developed into hostility, because the only people I felt like I could trust were like my close friends that I had grown up with my whole life. I went to the same school and was around the same 30 kids from the time I was in preschool to the 8th grade. So that was like a little nucleus in a bubble that I grew up in, where we all grew up, you know, from the time we were basically babies. So the fame and shit wasn't like a factor for them, because we were all we knew. It wasn't until I became a teenager, went to high school and college, that I started to really deal with this animosity. That, like, you know, defensive attitude, that chip on my shoulder, that, you know, posturing, led me down the wrong path, because I felt I had something to prove. I felt that I had to be this bad motherfucker so that people wouldn't fuck with me, and I would rather be intimidating to other people than allow people to try to intimidate me. And, you know, it worked for a while. All in all, it just led me down a path of self-destruction through my 20s. Now I'm 31 years old, and I'm just now getting to the point where, you know, I'm starting to truly feel that I don't really have anything to prove to anyone. You know, all in all, I'm really happy and I'm very blessed. I've learned a lot about myself. I wouldn't change my predicament for anything, but as a kid, there's one thing that I really didn't understand, which is that the reason why I was dealing with all this animosity, it wasn't just because my dad was famous. It was also because people were jealous. People only hate on you if you're a threat to them. If you deep down have something that they admire, that they feel that they lack within themselves. People will project onto you their own insecurities and weaknesses. And that's what I didn't understand at the time. If you're a factor, if you have the X factor, then you're gonna encounter a lot of resentment from people that lack that within themselves and secretly want that for themselves. So let me put it like this. If I wasn't a factor, if I was just a timid, you know, kid who just wanted to blend in and stay out of the spotlight, then I wouldn't have been a factor. People would have been like, oh, Chet Hanks, Tom Hanks, this kid, yeah, whatever, he's cool, like, yeah, he's a cool guy, whatever. But, you know, I've always been a factor. Even as a kid, I was a decent looking kid. You know, I was athletic. I was good with girls. So I kind of had all the above. And because of that, it made the fame aspect coupled with that made people hate me even more so. And that's what I didn't understand as a kid, is that these people were just fucking jealous of me. And they were projecting their own insecurities onto me. I needed to hear that as a kid. I didn't have like a strong male role model to tell me that, to tell me, hey bro, fuck these people. They're just jealous of you. You have all these things that they want. So they're trying to fucking throw their shade at you so that you can feel shitty about yourself because they're jealous. I needed to hear that. I don't have anyone to tell me that. This is me now as a man telling the younger version of myself what he needed to hear. It wasn't until I got older that I fully realized that in hindsight, because as a kid, we don't have anything to compare our experiences to. We accept our reality as being the ultimate reality. It takes us growing up and looking at things from a different perspective to understand the ins and outs of our experience. So if you're encountering hostility and resentment and jealousy and animosity from people, just stop to think that it might be because, and it almost certainly is because, you have something these people admire, and because they lack it within themselves, it's more comfortable for them to try to trick you out your position and make you feel like you're less than, so that then you can believe that, get down to their level, and then it makes them more comfortable feeling less than. People's perception of you is only a reflection of themselves, period. And that's what it took me a long time to realize. But today, I'm grateful. I've changed my life. I no longer have gone down that self-destructive road of dealing with my anger and my resentment by self-destructing, by pleasure-seeking through partying, drugs, alcohol, substances, everything. And now I'm just focusing on doing the work and being the best me that I can be. That's the reason why I started Hanks Fit, this program. And that's the reason why I'm starting this YouTube channel, so I can share the real stories. Because hopefully my message connects with you guys. And even if it just connects with one person, that's enough for me to feel content. So thank you guys. And more of these will be coming. If you haven't joined my fitness program yet, hit the link and let's get it started. Love you guys.